Let's be
Let's be
Let's be
like Taiwan.
like New Zealand.
like Australia.
Welcome to AdvoCovid, where we advocate social awareness against the COVID-19 virus. In today's episode, what does it take to be a model country in flattening the curve? Thankfully, we got Taiwan, New Zealand, and Australia to teach us how they are responding to this pandemic. In the 8 months of our global lockdown, these 3 countries have prevailed and have become the envy of all. Let's ask our reporters for their reports on these countries and find out their techniques. Starting off with Taiwan.
How is Taiwan among the best model countries? Well, let me tell you. The country's population is at 23.8 million, but has shown their resiliency with 600 confirmed COVID-19 cases with only a total of 7 casualties. This is all thanks to a previously experienced outbreak of SARS back in 2003. As a result of this, trained professionals and effective screening tools were prepared for the current pandemic, responding quicker than most to the problem. Taiwan started its action on the last day of 2019. Border restrictions were immediately set up and free rapid testing was provided for the citizens. Thanks to accessible health records, doctors and other health officials are efficient with their work to always provide care. It helps them see other potential cases in all places. The government has also conducted a plan wherein the citizens are notified on mask inventories nearby in case of shortage. These precise preventive measures along with the citizens' discipline has proven Taiwan to be a notable country in flattening the curve.
Now, isn't that some level of readiness? They're really the definition of learning from one's past mistakes and successfully overcoming them. That's definitely a flex.
Well, as for New Zealand, we have a population of 4.8 million people with 2001 positive cases and 25 casualties. The health officials were vigilant in the response to the pandemic outbreak, that despite the negative effects of the lockdown on the economy, their efforts were not ceased as they implement strict physical distancing with strong testing, contact tracing, close clinical management of those infected, and clear and regular public communication. Furthermore, the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade worked closely with WHO to support their neighbor in the Pacific so as they will not be transmitted with COVID-19. They sent supplies and provided their health staff with the appropriate training to battle this virus. And now that New Zealand has eased the effects of the pandemic, they still continue to be alert as the virus could still be circulating. So the citizens are reminded to stay extra cautious and preventive measures are ready if the virus were to return.
New Zealand's officials are not only efficient in their strategies, they are also being thoughtful for their neighboring countries.
However, I think Australia has the best improvement. Australia first fell victim to the virus in the early month of 2020. But now, the southern part of Australia can be now considered as one of the safest places in the world. Now that's what I call progress. Australian officials issued restrictive measures like closing their state borders to all foreign visitors and regulating the areas they traveled. Common gathering spots like gyms, bars, and more were closed off to ensure the virus won't spread too severely, while essential spots were kept open to the public. Countless rapid testing has also been completed all across Australia with over 570,000 tests. Their testing includes all health workers, aged care workers, prisoners, and people in other spots that may also have a fever or an acute respiratory system. And if by any chance positive COVID patients are found, they're required to immediately report to the nearby GP station clinics for proper examination. The Australia Pandemic Intelligence Plan serves as their framework for collecting necessary data needed to fight the threat of COVID-19, which greatly helped them in suppressing the spread of COVID-19.
Good! And thank you for sharing your methods to successfully suppress the virus. Maybe I should take notes. Perhaps it will help our situation. Doesn't it inspire you with proper leadership and cooperation with the citizens? They have eliminated the biggest threat of the century. So how about you and your country? How will you handle the pandemic now? Follow these models and in turn, be a role model. We're all in this together. With all of our collective effort, we can beat this pandemic and live freely once more.